Welcome back to RotoMoto. My name is Donnie. Forgive me for being fully decked out in baseball gear today, but the Mariners play at 3:30, but we just had some big news drop. We got the track maps for 2023 Supercross, so let's go ahead and dive in and do this. This is just be a real quick reaction type video. Not going to write a script for it. Let's just go through the 17 tracks, and I will be seeing them the same time that you will if you're watching this video without seeing them first. Up first is obviously Anaheim 1. It's a baseball stadium. I personally like baseball stadium layouts. Right away, you notice the split start. This is kind of controversial. I personally kind of like it, but not everybody does. Your pretty typical first left-hand turn into a rhythm, then another rhythm, then Supercross triple. Notably, we are almost entirely 180s on this one. We've got, it looks like 1, 2 90 degrees. Then we go into another rhythm after the big triple, then obviously the finish line jump, and then a pretty typical looking whoop section. I would expect this to be a very tame whoop section, given that it's going to be the opener of the season and everything. But then that flat bull turn into a tunnel jump, which I always really like those, but this time it's going to immediately go back into another short whoop section. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up getting cut, unfortunately. If you look at the overhead view, it actually shows an even longer whoop section, but if you look at how this track works out, I don't think they could actually pull that off. Also interesting that they have two different versions of it on here, so we'll keep track and see if they do that in any further tracks. Moving on to the second round, we'll be in Oakland. It's another baseball stadium track, and I like it. It's a very interesting layout. The start straight being where it is just very interesting. Very tight first corner immediately into a double triple or triple double rhythm section is going to give guys a little bit of trouble. But I really like this long continuous rhythm with just kinks in it as we go to where home plate could be. And then another double into a Supercross triple, and then a large double immediately after that. This is our first track of the year with two whoop sections. We'll go whoop, and then a little dragon's back, and then another whoop section, and then another long rhythm section. This is going to be a gnarly track. I'm pretty excited on this. One thing that I like is the use of the flat bull turn again every lap, and if you look at the picture from another angle, you can see that it looks to be banked, and that would be an incredible setup if they had a banked first turn. So I'm looking forward to Oakland. Third round, of course, is going to be in San Diego, but we're going to the football stadium this time. So we've been in Petco, we've been in the baseball park forever, we're going to a football stadium. I'm not excited about it. Again, I really like the shape of a baseball stadium. It seems like the tracks look more interesting, if nothing else. Once we go football stadium, it's kind of back to the same. You're gonna have a start straight down the middle, 2 or 3 rhythm lanes on the left, 2 or 3 rhythm lanes on the right, and that's kind of the track. But this one is definitely interesting. I don't know how they're going to make it work. If they're going to have to put cones out there, you can see where it crosses back across the start straight, but we'll get to that. The pretty standard center long start straight, but it's a really wide sweeping first turn. Immediately again into a rhythm section, double, triple over the box, triple out, and then another longer rhythm section, then another rhythm section, and then your Supercross triple. I like how we're going to have this period where we go across the first turn. Again, I really like how they're reusing a lot of that first turn and start straight area. But through the first turn area, looks like a dragon's back here, and then we turn right, we have a little double, and then a very long whoop section. Turn the corner, Supercross, finish, and then just a standard double and then a triple. And yeah, I really like this. I don't know how they're going to enforce it, but this long go out to the start straight and then around some sort of obstacle that they'll set up in the track, whether it be just maybe they'll go around. It honestly would be cool if they made the pitboard area kind of round, so you have to go around the pitboard there, but that's probably a little dangerous to have those guys that far out on the track. But I really like the look of San Diego. We go back to Anaheim for the fourth round, another baseball stadium, and man, this is a super ridiculous track. This looks like a track that somebody created in the game. Standard start straight, kind of a sweeping first turn, but then we've got like this little bump, it looks like, and then a launch ski jump into nothing kind of thing. But you'll notice that this track crosses the start straight 4 times, and that's going to add so much lap time. I really like where all of these are going. I'm going to probably keep repeating that if I keep liking what I'm seeing, but I really like how we're reusing so much of that start straight, because that's going to add, it might not seem like much, but if we could add 5 seconds a lap, that's really going to add up. Whole shot will actually not be awarded until the like a completion of a snake. That's like half of an arena cross track right there. And then it's going to kind of dump out into a bowl turn, which is really, really neat. Long rhythm section, then a simple rhythm section after that. And then, yeah, you see this, it almost looks like a box jump where you can launch it from both. The start straight might launch it, and then the cross traffic might launch it. That's super cool. Then a transfer over the finish line. Hopefully we don't get wet. Every time they do one of these cool transfer over the start straight tracks, it always feels like it rains and they don't actually get to do it, but we're gonna transfer over, bull turn, double, whoop section, rhythm, triple. Is this the first time we've seen sand? I believe this is the first time we've seen sand. So no sand until the 4th round, which is interesting. Across the finish line, across the start straight, bull turn, across the start straight again, bull turn, and then a big finish line jump across the finish. Love this track. And then another, it looks like a dragon's back after a 90-degree to round it back out. This is the most interesting track we have maybe ever seen. And it's not gimmicky. It's not split lane or anything. It's just a well-constructed track. I hope that they leave this as it is and they don't change it too much. Round 5 will be in Houston. This one is, again, look at how many times we cross back over the start straight. I like these angled start straights. I think it's a really cool thing. Me and my buddy actually sat in Indy 2019, I believe, like right at the end of that. And it was cool to be able to see them coming pretty much straight at you, but then you also have them jumping right in front of you down that rhythm section. So it was a really neat idea. But it looks like this is our first over-under layout. Pretty standard start straight and first turn. Then the over-under tunnel, we're gonna go rhythm, double over the finish line, and then under the tunnel, then we've got a sand. I kind of like just the big, long, sweeping sand section. Hopefully they don't try to put too many rollers or anything in it, just let them do it. And then like a little ski jump type thing on the way out. Then Supercross triple into a double, and it looks like the landing of the triple kind of goes directly into that double, which is neat. Then probably triple out of that rhythm, and then you've got this long, fast section up to a bull turn, and then back across the starting line twice. It looks like they can actually jump over it. It's a pretty small bump, but yeah, it looks like you could jump across the starting straight, which again is going to be a really, really cool visual. These are really, really interesting tracks. I'm pretty excited about it. Then another rhythm section with a couple of tabletops. Looks like we're going to go into the deep part of Houston, which is kind of cool because it's not like a super huge stadium, but using that extra real estate you have. Long rhythm section, long whoop section, and then just your basic right over the tunnel jump, and that's a complete lap. So yeah, Houston, again, very interesting track. Going to Raymond James Stadium, which is in Tampa. This will be the first East round, so we're only going to go 5 west and then right to the east. This is a more cookie cutter track. With all due respect, it's just that this first 5 were really, really nice. And this looks like a Supercross track. Standard start straight, standard first turn, standard kind of rhythm section, bull turn, little triple, long whoop section, and then we'll probably have guys go double, triple, and another rhythm section, and then tabletop into the sand. And those look like whoops. Like obviously they're gonna call them rollers, but the way they're done here, they're pretty peaky. So that's gonna be a gnarly section, but it's not necessarily gonna make for good racing. It's just gonna make for good crashing. But I don't really have a lot to say about this one. We do use the start straight at least. It's gonna come back out, cross down the entire length of the start straight to go to that little on, off, and then the finish line jump. But I feel really bad for the fans in Tampa because there's nothing wrong with this track, but it's gonna feel very tame in comparison to what we normally see. Round 7 is gonna be in Arlington. It will be another East round, and this will be a Triple Crown round. Also, I forgot to mention that really bonkers track at Anaheim, round 4, the second Anaheim, where it crosses back over 4 times. That's gonna be a Triple Crown. So we're gonna see a ton of racing on that track, which is exciting. But also Arlington, which will be round 7, is also a Triple Crown round. Pretty typical start straight, big round first turn, straight into a rhythm section. Seems like most of them are going straight into rhythm sections, at least the more standard tracks. Finish line jump, little whoop section, then under the tunnel, little double, and then looks like dragon back into a rhythm, probably a tabletop on-off type rhythm. Then another whoop section. Then I kind of like this little, it doesn't always make for great racing, but if somebody loses traction, it's definitely somewhere people can make up space. But we've got a really tight corner back out onto the start straight, and then we're gonna go right back across it probably a little double. I don't think anybody's going to triple that, so probably a little double, and then we can launch over the tunnel jump if anybody's brave enough to do that. Down, and again, we're going to go across the start straight again, add a little bit extra, just a little double Supercross triple, and that is a complete lap. Again, this is a way more interesting track than Tampa, and any other time I'd be like, yo, this is pretty neat, but man, those first few rounds are going to be tough to live up to. Unfortunately, round 8 is in Daytona. That's not unfortunate, but unfortunately, Daytona always releases their track map later because that is not put on by Feld. That's promoted by a completely separate company. That's going to be designed by Ricky Carmichael, so we'll get that later. Round 9 is in Indy. Also an East round, obviously. We've got a perpendicular start. Pretty short, goes straight into a rhythm. It's just a little 90, no full turn. Rhythm, they both look pretty standard. Whoop section, table on, table off most likely. Little double, Supercross triple. Then a rhythm, bull turn, little triple, and then Supercross finish. Crossover, tabletop on, tabletop off, and then back across. This is, I mean, I was harsh on Tampa. This is probably the most generic track, and I'm very upset because Indy is my home race. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, so I go to this one every year because it's a 2.5 hour drive. But man, I might have to get some plane tickets because this does not excite me at all. Moving on to Detroit. This is better. We got a lot of crisscrossing across the finish line. Pretty standard start straight directly into a rhythm. Another long rhythm section. Then probably tabletop on, off, dragons back onto the start straight, which I always like these kind of tracks. I remember playing Supercross the game a few years ago, and there was a track that had the dragons back onto the start straight, and that was always really cool. You know, pick up a ton of speed, take that real tight left, and then hit the finish line jump. Interesting, this little kicker. I know it's not much, but a little kicker into that bull turn to kind of slow guys down. That'll be a great spot for passing because people won't be able to turn as quickly as they want to. Little double into a whoop section, then a 90 jump across the finish line, then do a little snake. Nothing else than a snake. I want to like these more, but we've seen just this snake before, and it just doesn't work. It becomes very one line. Hopefully, like this image shows, they are very banked bull turns so that maybe 2 lines can develop, but seems to be follow the leader most of the time. Little triple, and then I love these little transfers across the start straight. So we'll jump across the start straight, come back, double, and then that's an entire lap. Detroit's definitely more interesting. That's the second closest to me, so I mean, I'll probably go to Indy anyway, but if I had to pick between the two, Detroit definitely has a much cooler track. Moving on to Seattle. So we'll have 5 rounds east, 5 rounds west, and then we go to Seattle. So we're going back to the west. I want to say pretty typical. The start straight down the center is pretty standard. We've got the big sweeping left rhythm section, little double cross, right in front of the gates. Then another 90 whoop section, triple, little triple, finish line jump, double out, 90 cross again. Another rhythm section, bowl, another rhythm section, but this is interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I like the idea of that really, really tight, slow, flat 180 back out onto the start straight, but instead you're going to go across, hit this little tiny corner of sand, and then back out. It's probably not going to play out to be that dramatic, but at least they're not, because this is a track that they very easily could have just put you back out and you do the first turn again, but they're going to have you go out and around, and that's going to be kind of neat. You're always going to have people fall in the sand. I don't particularly like the sand, but I will say it does at least dice up and make some battles a little bit more interesting. Round 12 is in Glendale. This will be the final Triple Crown. Again, it's weird to see Glendale, which is always so early in the thing, but the Super Bowl is actually going to be in the stadium in the winter, so that's probably why they're not going to do it. But we have the long start straight that you always know from Glendale. Rhythm section, another rhythm section, and then a whoop section. Then we're going to go across the start straight. Big flat bull turn, Supercross finish line. Probably going to go double. I can't see any other rhythm there. Over the tunnel, and then triple through that next rhythm section. Technically, bull turn, and then you're gonna have the exact same part of that rhythm again, but now we have this awkward little split lane, and I kind of always hate when they do these because they never work out. This feels like something that should be in a video game, but having these 2 mini little rhythms, they just never pan out. It feels like there might be one battle every race that actually you see the guys doing an alternate rhythm. Otherwise, it's really not there. So hopefully that I'm wrong, but it's I'm pessimistic at best. I don't even know, like a 120 degree back out on the start straight, and then you finish the lap again going all the way down the start. This one's kind of boring, and I mean, I say that, it's not. Any other year, I'd be like, oh, this is kind of neat, but those first 5 come out of the gate hard. I just wish they would do more with Glendale because it's such a massive floor. This is the track where doing what Anaheim 2 did, where you're gonna crisscross back multiple times. How, like, you can make a really ridiculous track using Glendale's floor space, but I digress. Round 13 is going to be in Atlanta, and we're going back to the Motor Speedway where we've been the last couple of years, so it's going to be a more outdoor style layout. This one's going to be hard to break down because the pictures are all so far away. Start straight, looks like it's probably Supercross sized, big sweeper. We've got a little bit of a rhythm, then we've immediately got the finish line jump, and then a big double, so for you Pulp MX players, very short FFL. A little 90 over the tunnel, then another 90, then another long rhythm section, big flat bull turn to a, not a triple per se, just a a triple size double it looks like. Bull turn, then we're probably gonna triple in, and then it looks like this next section is gonna have the stepped jumps where they're gonna be elevated on one side and not the other, so you're gonna have to pick your rhythm through those. Again, always kind of neat in theory, but they rarely pan out the same. This one's gonna have 2 sand sections. It looks like we have sand rollers right outside of the tunnel. Then we cross the start straight, a little jump, and then we go right back into sand rollers across. Jump out, 90-90. Again, not a triple, it's just a very large Supercross triple-sized double. And then on the other side, there's really no good pictures on the other side. The Yamaha logo's in the way. Little rhythm section, and then I can't tell, that looks like a whoop section, but they're really tall and peaky, so it could be a rhythm, we'll see. Jump, I would say that's a rhythm because these are whoops here. MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. This will be the East-West Showdown. I hate that they were having one on round 14, and then we're gonna have one again on round 17. I wish they would push that earlier, like round 9. Also, it's unfair to all the West Coast small teams and privateers to drive all the way to New Jersey, which is like literally the farthest you could possibly be from California, but again, I digress. This is a more standard looking Supercross track. Long first turn, long first straight, big open first turn, directly into a rhythm, 90, double single out over the finish line, or over the starting straight, bull turn, jump across the start straight again. You know what, this track reminds me a lot of, I want to say, yeah. Oh, yeah. Indy 2018 or 19, maybe. Again, I hate saying this, but I played this in the game a lot. But jumping across, doing the bull turn, jumping back, and then a little rhythm section, then a whoop section, then back down to the start straight, and then yeah, this is very similar. So this is definitely a cookie cutter track. We've seen this one before. But anyway, finish line jump, double, bull rhythm section, 90, then you're gonna have Supercross triple, 90, you're gonna jump over, and again, because I played that game, I remember jumping, being able to get enough momentum to actually jump from that first over to where the hole shot line is. So hopefully that's a line that somebody can do. Round 15 is in Nashville, new city. St. Louis was removed and Nashville was put in. That's something that they talked about doing before pre-COVID, was alternating those two. So hopefully we do it. This is interesting. So shorter start straight. We're turning right. This is our first right-hand turn, it looks like. Rhythm section, bull turn, dragons back into whoops, bull turn, and then we're going to come across the start straight, but not straight down it. Little double over the finish line jump, bull turn, triple, step on, step off, probably triple, little rhythm, then a 90, and then long rhythm, and then this is a little convoluted. It looks like we've got sand on the inside and jumps on the outside, but at the end of that little section, it becomes sand on the outside, and there is a jump on the inside, and then on the outside it's sand, but then this isn't going to work, because then you're going to have guys kind of trying to cut lines, and that's probably going to cause some collisions. So again, neat idea in theory, but I hope it doesn't stick, because that might end up dangerous. Round 16 in Denver, outdoor football stadium. We've got a pretty typical start straight, medium-sized first turn, rhythm back, rhythm across, Supercross triple into whoops, bull turn, little rhythm, finish line, bull turn, across, little rhythm, bull turn. So This is also about as cookie cutter as you can get. And finally, the finale, Salt Lake City, Rice-Eccles Stadium. There's a lot to take in here. Let me try to, I see split lane type things. Let's go. Long start straight, full length, pretty standard first turn, into a rhythm, probably go on, off, triple single. I'll probably see people, instead of singling, they'll double on the inside to catch that little hip. I also could see somebody quadding into this if they are brave enough. Across the finish line, or I'm sorry, across the starting gate, double, bull turn, double. Then back across the start for a, man, that's a big open sweeping corner to the finish line jump. Then over the tunnel, then across the backwards across the first turn, 90 into whoop section. I hate 90s into whoop sections. Bull turn, little rhythm, bull turn, another rhythm. That looks like a rhythm into a Supercross triple, but this is interesting. Then we have a 90, but if you hug the inside, it's a pretty steep looking obstacle on just the inside. Outside looks open. We'll see how that plays out. Then we go under the tunnel and back into that first rhythm section. So this is actually a really interesting track. Remember, again, this will be the East-West Showdown. It's not nearly as wild as some of those first tracks we saw, but I really like this. We're gonna cross the start straight 1, 2, 3, 4 times, including one where we're gonna go halfway down it from one section to another. Very interesting track, very worthy of the finale. I definitely like this Salt Lake City track. I don't think anything's gonna touch that Anaheim 2 track though. That thing is wild. Also, Houston is pretty gnarly. I hope that the San Diego track pans out. Just those first 5 tracks are they're bringing the heat for whatever reason. So really excited about the season. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite track? I'm not going to drag out this outro. My favorite, of course, I'm going to go Anaheim 2, round 4. That's my favorite one. Hit the like button if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to RotoMoto if you like more breaking news and analysis like this. It's the #1 way to get more eyes on the channel, so tell platform this video was a good one. Thanks as always for watching. My name is Donnie. Keep it pinned to the weekend.